So Palantir Q2 came out and they crushed their top end estimate. Along with some amazing numbers, I saw some huge catalysts in the Q2 presentation, which again, in my opinion, has advanced Palantir to the whole new level. Let's talk about some of those in this video and why I feel Palantir is really supercharged. And we are starting right now. I'll share my screen and walk you through what Palantir presented and highlight some of the major breakthroughs, or if I can word it in better, then what's really happening behind the scenes. One of the first few slides had this image of satellite and constellation right here on your screen. Now, Palantir has been involved in space for a very long time. I mean, their work with the defense sector involved massive use of satellite data in critical decision making. We all have seen videos of those beautiful things that they do with Department of Defense. They are leveraging that experience and are actually offering this massive and unique power to the commercial sector. Take a look at what was said during the conference call, and I have underlined a few key items for you guys right here. Okay, their COO mentioned this, that I would like to share a bit of our latest product innovation, somewhat that we deployed at the Global Information Dominance Experiments, or GUIDE 3, last month. We call it the Meta Constellation, and it's radically changing how satellites are tasked and latency of collection, and it's creating a fundamental link in that AI-enabled decision chain. Along with that, they are basically talking about how they have orchestrated a meta constellation of 237 satellites by working with an array of commercial space companies. That's a key point here, and I'm going to discuss in just a second. So after reading the initial part, we get to know that this is their latest innovation, that's number one, and that they are working with commercial space partners, which is really exciting. Now, take a look at what they can offer right now. I have underlined two use cases that they presented, and I'll share what it means for the market cap. Number one is important questions like where are the indicators of wildfires and how climate change affecting crop productivity. So number one is where the indicators of wildfires. Number two, how are climate changes affecting the crop production? So let's take a look at number one, which is wildfires, and let me share some staggering numbers with you. Take a look at this chart. Now, this is a chart of wildfire loss. Number one, the cost of long-term health exposure related to US wildfires from 2008 to 2012, 450 billion. Okay, it's a range of years. It's a cost, it's a health cost. We're not going to look at it directly, but this is the direct cost. Overall cost of 2017 California wildfire season estimated $100 billion. That's a massive number. Again, Headwater estimate of cost of fire suppression and insurance claim in 2017 alone, $14 billion. You see, just one use case of this software can affect and move these kind of numbers. And we all know that each and every company that is talking about future has the word AI associated with it. I truly feel that Palantir has entered an entirely new industry and opened the door to a completely new vertical for them. Okay, moving on. The next slide gives us the result of the first half of 2021. Now, if you look at this slide at the first glance, this looks like a sales pitch. Okay, revenue grew 49%, that's fine. 28% margin, that's fine. 3.4 billion in total deal value increase, all cool. But this slides give a deep meaning into the company, and I'll share that towards the end of the video, as this needs another slide to go along in order to understand this better. Now moving on, in the next slide, this is where they flex their muscles really well. So on this slide, you can see we are commercializing Apollo to allow our customers to meet their customers, okay? Our customers to meet their customer where they are. Now, if you look at the image carefully, they're saying bring your own compute and bring your own storage. That means that they will be sitting on top of so many use cases and so many other software and seamlessly connecting to so many third-party solutions that this step alone will make their products so much more desirable. Let me explain in a very simple example. Let's see you have been using Yahoo Mail for a very long time. Someone just showed you Gmail and you loved it and would like to switch to Gmail. What's the first question you will ask yourself? How will I get my old Yahoo email into my Gmail account? I mean, that's what I asked. I was using Yahoo for years. And then when I switched to Gmail, that was the first question or the first concern that I had, that all the old emails I had, how will I transfer those emails to Gmail? Which means that either I have to go and manually forward those emails or use some kind of a service, which of course, that's what I did to kind of move everything, but it was a mess because it didn't lay it out properly. It all came out as unread. You know what I mean. So what I'm trying to say that it's a headache just to think about switching email service providers. Because if you want an old email, you still have to come to Yahoo, then search for the email, then forward it, or things like that. Now let's say that Palantir comes in the picture and they say that you can use Gmail, but we will make all your old emails from Yahoo be accessible within Gmail. Just like that, all your headaches are gone. So you see, this is just a simple case, but that's exactly how powerful they are in this slide. This is a big step towards creating a truly global SaaS solution, again, my opinion only. Now let's take a look at the next slide. In 2 days, right here, they mentioned that one of the largest banks in Europe with more than 10,000 branches deployed end-to-end anti-money laundering and compliance process in Foundry. I mean, I can't get a check cleared in 2 days, and they deployed a whole new freaking system in 10,000 branches. How cool is that? Another point of being supercharged. Now let's take a look at this slide. They mention a few industries here in the next one. Okay, they mentioned about mining, energy, and others. So if you're aware of what's going on, then you know that this is one of the sectors that is going through total transformation. We can clearly see from this slide that Palantir is trying to integrate vertically in all stages, all the way from production right here, all the way to delivering, all the way to consumers. So we are talking about a through a vertical integration of the whole sector. Now let's talk about, this is all about company and how good and supercharged they are in so many different verticals. Now let's talk about the numbers that they presented in Q2 and also what they're promising in Q3. Along with that, what is the most interesting thing that I noticed in their financials? Let's take a look at their H1 right here. So in the H1 of 2020, right here that they're talking about, they were not a public company, so we really can't compare the numbers side by side. But just to give you an example of what's going on within the company, it's really important for us to take a look at 2020 as well, and then 2021. So the cash flow from operating activity in first half of 2020 was 226, a loss of 226 million. In H1 of 2021, which is first half of 2021, they're positive 139 million. Again, I understand there was a lot more growth in the company, and of course it's a public company now. I totally understand that. But I feel that this is what they did in just 1 year. So this company has a very strong next few years to come. Now let's take a look at this. So loss from operations, and I always pay attention to this. So they really went up in the net loss. They had a bigger loss in Q2. But pay attention here. The stock-based compensation is one of the biggest number in the net loss. And they had 127 million in Q2 of 2020, and they have 232 million in Q2 of 2021. Now, if you subtract this number to this number, again, and if you subtract the total stock-based compensation to the net loss, we are more in the positive in Q2 of 2021. Even though the stock hasn't moved, the company or the Wall Street hasn't really loved the company so far, we are still in more positive if you take these two numbers out. So this is pretty exciting stuff. Now I'm going to switch gears for a second here. Now let's take a look at what they promised for Q3. So this is what they promised for Q3 right here. Revenue of 385 million. I feel they will blow past this to about 400 million. I really think with all the new deals that they're signing and also the government fiscal year end, so their deal value will go up. They will get more contract, or same contract will give them more money for the year end. For their year-end cash flow right here of 300 million, I feel that they will also surprise us with a better number here. And their revenue growth for 30% for the next 4 years, this is mind-blowing, and let me show you how. So this is the first half of 2021, that the numbers that they gave. So if you think about it, they're saying that they already have 3.4 billion in sales, and they will grow on top of it 30% for the next 4 years. That's massive numbers. So I really think that Palantir is supercharged on all verticals and not just one or two. And I think with their flexibility and what they can offer, we can truly see this company enter a whole new growth model in the next few quarters. I'm excited about the future and what this company has to offer to many industries. Now we know that the stock-based compensation will decrease after December 2021. I have mentioned that in that previous video, and also their earnings call also said that Alex Karp's stock-based compensation will expire at the end of 2021. So I feel that after that, Wall Street will start seeing this as a growth company because their net loss will improve. And the quarter this company turns positive, we will see huge institution money piling up. And of course, Cathie Wood bought so many shares right after the earnings because they also saw the potential that I'm seeing, that this company has a huge future potential in the next few quarters, in the next few years. I'm attaching my video here where I talk about Palantir and race to AI. Do check it out as it does explain how Palantir is winning the AI race. I hope I provided some value. If you like the video, then please consider subscribing and hit the like button so we can reach out to more Palantir lovers. As always, thank you for joining me. Love you all. Until next time, you all have a sparkling day.